Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store for such products like the Zoom H1 Portable Digital Recorder. Affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and what is this? Jeff Sessions' marijuana reversal brings swift bipartisan condemnation. Okay, cool. I like the bipartisan part of this whole thing, but his marijuana reversal? Yeah, that's been going on today, right? Because a couple days ago, California, the 8th largest economy in the world, which like 10 years ago was like the 4th largest economy or somewhere in there. It's gone really bad. But anyway, they have just allowed for recreational pot to be a thing. Now, as a person who recently lived in Oregon and now lives in Washington, recreational pot is a way of life up here for many, many, many people. In Colorado, it has really turned around the economy in that state. It is a cash crop for a reason. People like the ganja. All right, they like getting high. They like getting wasted. I myself like enjoying it for medicinal purposes because I'm always stressed out, kind of suicidal, and this helps out. Anyway, the point is pot is not a bad thing. In fact, it's going to be a very large part of our upcoming economy. It's going to produce jobs, bring in taxable income. I mean, like all of these things. It's good. But Jeff Sessions, Mr. Keebler Elf here, is just like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Legal marijuana is bad. It's not what he sounds like, but in my head, that's what he does. Anyway, days after recreational pot became legal in California, Attorney General Jeff Sessions has decided to revoke the Obama-era guidance that's allowed state legal marijuana markets to flourish, according to the Associated Press, which also reports that Sessions plans to allow local U.S. attorneys to decide how aggressively to enforce federal marijuana law. Now, for the most part, because if it's moving to U.S. attorneys, local attorneys inside those districts to look to see how they want to oversee this, most are going to look at it and go, yeah, it's for the best. It brings in a lot of money, and we desperately need that right now. So they're not going to do anything about it. But in other states where they're not going to want that, probably more the South, probably more the Bible Belt, which is where you're going to find a lot of people who smoke pot. Because there's a lot of people who smoke pot everywhere. Right? That's the best part about this, man. The best part about legalizing weed is that you realize, man, a lot of people smoke pot and they will spend the money for it. Yeah. It's a good thing. I'll put it to you like this right now. Marijuana is a $5 billion a year industry. Legal marijuana. $5 billion a year. Right now. By 2022, 2023, we're talking $23 billion. All right. If there's any time to invest in marijuana, it's now, man. And I was really hoping that 2017 wasn't going to go the way it did because I had plans. I was going to earn money, throw money down, invest, pay for my home off a pot. Now I'm looking at getting a job as a bud tender. I wouldn't smoke my stash, but it'd be good to know how to roll a joint. The point I'm trying to say here is that it's good for the economy. And a lot of people out there are very much trying to shut this down. People like Jeff Sessions who view marijuana as something as bad as heroin. Yeah, because an opioid crisis has a lot to do with a plant that grows out of the ground. Well, granted, the opioid crisis comes a lot from a plant that comes out of the ground. But that's not really the point. The point is how it's manufactured, how it's made, how it's put out there. Anyway, getting off track here. Sessions' decisions put states' legal businesses in significant jeopardy. Large-scale growers, processors, distributors, and wholesalers, and even high-volume pot shops are now at risk of being targeted as though they were drug kingpins. And this is a reality. I mean, even right now, pot shops already have a target on their back. They get cash, they get money, but they can't deposit it in a bank because of the DEA laws or the federal restrictions. The fact that it's still looked at as a federally restricted drug, and so they can't put that money in the bank, and then they get raided by DEA, and the DEA just takes their freaking money. Right? I mean, it's literally robbing Peter to pay Paul, just on a large scale. The government's coming in. Now, Jeff Sessions here is a Republican. Jeff Sessions probably is a person who would argue that limited government, smaller government, fewer government regulations would be good. Which is probably why he's trying to look at this as saying, like, well, if I pull back on this, an Obama-era thing, then it's not government regulation. That doesn't, I see what you're saying. I can understand that train of thought, but ultimately, no. Some things have to be regulated. They do. But let the market decide. The market's already showing you how valuable of a cash crop it is. It's just ridiculous to think otherwise. And also to treat people like they're drug kingpins is insane. These aren't cartels. This isn't MS-13 coming over and doing crap. These are just like your local mom and pop growers, man. People who've been doing it for a long time that have been able to create very awesome strains and now sell it to the general public and do it upfront, honest and legal. Law-abiding citizens, not hiding behind it, which is what we wanted, which is what everyone wanted. I'm saying, you could save lives, Jeff Sessions. You could save lives. Never mind the fact that you look like a damn Keebler elf and smoking pot leads to people wanting to eat more, like cookies, like Keebler elf cookies. You're literally trying to destroy a symbiotic relationship here. Stop it. The Trump administration move flies in the face of public opinion. Support for legalization has never been higher. Get it? A recent Gallup poll found nearly 2/3 of Americans believe recreational marijuana should be legal, including now a majority of Republicans, because people like to get high. That's basically the way around it. Republican, Democrat, Independent, Jill Stein, you like to get stoned. It's a great unifier. I always said smoking in general was a great unifier, right? Because it doesn't matter what your political beliefs are, what your religious affiliation is. You step outside for 10 minutes, you light up a cigarette, someone comes over, you're like, what's going on? And you chit-chat while you're smoking that down. You might make a smoke buddy, you might make a new friend, but either way, you're having a good conversation and you're talking to somebody else. Something we don't do as often these days because of the perils of social media. Not trying to say smoking is healthy for you, but it does help you make friends. So there's that. Anyway, the Attorney General's move brought swift condemnation from both Republican and Democrats in Washington. National Republican Senatorial Committee head Senator Cory Gardner, who represents Colorado, where the marijuana market is legal and thriving, blasted Sessions as a liar. This reported action directly contradicts what Attorney General Sessions told me prior to his confirmation. The Justice Department has trampled on the will of the voters in Colorado and other states, saying, I'm prepared to take all steps necessary, including holding DOJ nominees, until the Attorney General lives up to the commitment he made me prior to the confirmation. Now, this is where senators, if they come together on this one, could in fact really stall some stuff. Because yes, the DOJ will be bringing in new people. There will be federal courts, federal judges that will need confirmations as well. No, I think Trump just applies them himself. I don't really know how it all works, to be honest with you. But if this is true, let's just say with this, if it's true and they can hold up nominees, it's going to really gum up the works for the Trump administration. But that being said, the Trump administration has 1,000+ jobs that are currently unfilled. So I don't know if it's really going to matter to them, to be honest with you. But it's a valid threat to nonetheless. Gardner's discontent was echoed by fellow Republicans in the Senate. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, another legalization state, called the move disrupted and regrettable. Rand Paul of Kentucky, where pot is illegal, called marijuana a states' rights issue, adding the federal government has better things to focus on. Well, it already focused on them, and it already kind of said, yeah, it's cool, dog. All right, you want to come over, spark a spliff, right? A little 420. They kind of said it was okay. They already said it was basically just like, let the states decide. And they were already but they opened it up for the states to decide and kept the DEA off their ass. This is a total different situation. And so Rand Paul needs to seriously zip it. Because it is a states' right issue, but the federal government opened it up for a states' right thing. And then let it up to the citizens of that state to vote legalization. So zip it, or your career will go as badly as your father's in the later years. If you don't believe me, it will happen. It will happen. On the other side of the aisle, Democrat Ron Wyden from Oregon, where marijuana is also legal, blasted the president, saying Trump promised to let states set their own marijuana policies. Now he's breaking that promise so Jeff Sessions can pursue his extremist anti-marijuana crusade. It feels like it. Because this is not the first time. Within Trump's first 30 days or something, there was a thing Jeff Sessions was talking about, rolling these regulations back. And I made a video criticizing Trump and criticizing Sessions about this. And at the time, I was at odds with a lot of Trump supporters. And this is a topic we all agreed on. We all agreed that this was ludicrous and ridiculous and dumb. We all agreed on that. Now Wyden says, he's insisting that protecting state legal marijuana markets must now be part of budget negotiations to avoid a government shutdown. Any budget deal, Wyden said, must prevent the federal government from intruding in state legal voter-supported decisions. Now, again, given the fact that these kind of Republicans love smaller government, love governments to stay hands off of states and whatnot, it's kind of a catch-22, right? Because he could argue that by pulling back on these, then it would open it up for the states to decide through the attorneys, right? The U.S. attorneys could decide how to better enforce those rules. Again, if the states themselves, the voters of those states, and if we hold elections as valid as we're supposed to, if we hold them as near and dear to our hearts and we're meant to respect the decisions, when the overwhelming majority of people in many states have voted to legalize it, the federal government under the previous administration was pretty much all for it, realizing the benefits outweigh the costs, or the cons, essentially. But here you've got a guy who believes that marijuana is as bad as heroin, and doesn't understand that the opioid crisis kills upwards of 60,000 people a year, predominantly in Trump-supported states, is where this kind of stuff is happening, that the opioid addiction is a huge problem, and that pulling pot is going to help that problem. No, it's not. It's only going to make it worse. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, check back often for more content from me. In fact, if you want to see more content from me, you can do so right now.